Hello students, welcome to this session of Science and Technology. In this session, we'll be discussing about previous year questions from Science and Technology. As we know, Science and Technology's weightage is increasing in prelims, and hence it is becoming a game changer for most of the aspirants. In order to prepare this subject in a good manner, we should have the knowledge of previous year questions that UPSC is asking, so that we can keep ourselves on track. So this session is dedicated towards the previous year questions of Science and Technology. So let us start with our session. Consider the following pairs. So they have given some commonly used materials and the unwanted or controversial chemicals found in those materials. First is lipstick, and the unwanted or controversial material is lead. So as per one of the research, 100% lipsticks use lead, and that's why first pair is correctly matched. Second, soft drinks and brominated vegetable oils. Yes, soft drinks, especially citrus varieties of soft drinks, use brominated vegetable oil, and that's why second pair is also correct pair. Third, Chinese fast food and monosodium glutamate, that is MSG. Yes, monosodium glutamate is found in some Chinese fast food, for example, the controversy related to Maggi, and monosodium glutamate is used in these food materials for or as a taste enhancer, right? So third statement is also correct, and hence answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. Right, so answer is D. Next question now. What is the purpose of evolved laser interferometer space antenna 𝐿ISA project? Fine. So this is the project for the detection of gravitational waves, right? So 𝐿ISA is for gravitational waves. So 𝐿ISA mission aims to identify, locate and study the sources of gravitational waves to learn about the formation of large-scale structures in the universe and test general relativity with precise observations. This observatory consists of 3 satellites. So 𝐿ISA is for the detection of gravitational waves mentioned in option B, and hence answer is B. Next question now. The terms event horizon, singularity, string theory and standard model are sometimes seen in the news in the context of which of the following? Fine. So event horizon, singularity, string theory and standard model are used for the observation and understanding of the universe, right? So what are these terms? Let us discuss. Event horizon telescope is a group of observatories united to image the emissions around the supermassive black holes. So Event Horizon Telescope is a set of almost 8 telescopes which are trying to observe the images coming from supermassive black holes. Second, singularity. The singularity at the center of a black hole is the ultimate no man's land, a place where matter is compressed down to an infinitely tiny point and all conceptions of time and space completely break down. So the singularity is a center of the black hole where nothing exists, even space and time do not exist. Next now, and string theory. and the standard model. String theory is one of the proposed methods for producing a theory of everything, a model that describes all known particles and forces that would supersede standard model. So string theory is the proposed theory which will supersede the standard model of physics, which can explain everything except gravity, right? So all these three terms are related to the universe and observation of universe, and hence answer is A. Next question now. In India, is it legally mandatory for which of the following to report cyber security incidents? Fine. So in India, out of these three, for whom it is legally mandatory to report cyber security incidents. So as per the Computer Emergency Response Team rules, which are given under IT Act, it is mandatory on the part of service providers and intermediaries, data centers, and body corporate to report about cyber security incidents, right? So it is the responsibility of all of these under the rules given under Information Technology Act 2000, and hence answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. Next question now. Organic light emitting diodes, that means OLED, are used to create digital display in many devices. What are the advantages of OLED devices over liquid crystal displays? Fine. So what are the advantages of OLED over LCD? First, OLED display can be fabricated on flexible plastic substratums or substrates. So yes, OLED display can be manufactured or can be fabricated on flexible plastic substrates, and that's why first statement is correct statement. Second, roll-up displays embedded in clothing can be made using OLEDs. As we can make flexible OLED displays with the help of plastic, even we can use OLEDs on clothing, and that's why we can make roll-up displays as well, and hence second statement is also correct with respect to OLEDs. Next statement, transparent display are possible using OLED. So with OLED we can even create a transparent display, and that is also one of the advantage of OLED over LCD, and that's why answer is C. All of these are the advantages of OLED over LCD. Fine. So answer is C. Next question now. What is the application of somatic cell nuclear transfer technology? Right. So they are asking us about the somatic cells. So before we discuss about the somatic cell nuclear transfer technology, firstly let us understand what are somatic cells. Somatic cells are those cells which are not associated with egg or sperm cells. So if we exclude egg and sperm cells, whatever cells that are left are known as somatic cells. And in somatic cell nuclear transfer technology, we try to transfer the nucleus of somatic cell into the egg, which is removed with its nucleus. That means egg whose nucleus has been removed by us, and based upon this nuclear transfer from somatic cells, will be able to develop various kinds of clones, right? So you'll be able to understand this particular technology with the help of this diagram. So what we have done, so there is a somatic cell, that means cell which is not associated with egg or sperm cell. That means they are the body cells, right? So we have a somatic cell. Also, we have an egg cell, but we have removed the nucleus from that egg, and thus we have got the egg cell without the nucleus. Now, we have allowed this somatic cell to get, or the nucleus of the somatic cell to get inside the, we have transferred the nucleus of somatic cell inside the nucleus of, inside the egg cell, whose nucleus has been removed. So what we will get after this, we'll get somatic cell introduced into egg cell, as a result of which, if we carry out artificial activation of this product or this egg cell where we have nucleus from somatic cell, we'll be able to get such an embryo which will consist of nucleus coming from somatic cell, right? So somatic cell nuclear transfer is a technique in which the nucleus of somatic or body cell is transferred to the cytoplasm of enucleated egg, that means egg whose nucleus has been removed. So we transfer the somatic cell into the cytoplasm of egg cell, right? So that is somatic cell nuclear transfer technology, which is mentioned in option C. So with the help of somatic cell nuclear transfer technology, we'll be able to carry out a reproductive cloning of animals, right? So answer for this question is C. Next question now. The term domestic content requirement is sometimes seen in the news with reference to which of the following? So this question was from 2017, and during that particular time there was issue with respect to the solar panels. We know that the government of India has increased the target with respect to solar energy. That means from earlier 20 gigawatts to 100 gigawatts by 2022. And for this target to be achieved, we will need lots of solar panels. But most of the solar panel, if they are imported from other countries, then that will be a huge burden on Indian economy. And that's why government put some conditions, and those conditions were in the form of domestic content. That means the solar panels should be manufactured locally, so that we'll be able to achieve the target of solar energy production by 2022. That means 100 gigawatts of solar energy, and at the same time it does not affect our forex reserves as well, right? So the domestic content requirement was for developing solar power production in our country, mentioned in option A, and hence answer is A, right? So this issue was raised by the USA in WTO, and that issue means we were not able to perform well in WTO over that issue. Next question now. With reference to agriculture in India, how can the technique of genome sequencing? So genome sequencing is quite important, because even now during COVID, genome sequencing is important, because with the help of genome sequencing, we'll be able to understand the changes in the genetic structure of the virus, based upon which we can identify which are the variants of virus that may overpower the vaccines, or which are the variants of virus that are spreading with a high speed, right? So genome sequencing can give us idea about the variants of coronavirus. But this question from 2017 was related to genome sequencing in agriculture. So we'll discuss about this question. With reference to agriculture in India, how can the technique of genome sequencing often seen in the news be used in the immediate future? Fine. So statements are: first, genome sequencing can be used to identify genetic markers for disease resistance and drought tolerance in various crop plants. Yes, this is the advantage of genome sequencing in agriculture, because in genome sequencing we'll be able to get information about various markers, and the characteristics exhibited by those markers can also be identified with the help of genome sequencing. And that's why first statement is correct statement. Second, this technique helps in reducing the time required to develop new varieties of crop plants. So the transgenic crops can be developed if we have certain genes and we know that those genes are associated with certain characteristics, and those genes then can be used to produce newer varieties of crops using genetic engineering. And that's why second statement is also correct statement. Third, it can be used to decipher the host pathogen relationship in crops. So that is also possible with the help of genome sequencing, because the pathogens which are causing damage to a particular crop, the relation between crop and the pathogen can be understood if we have the knowledge of genes that are vulnerable to that particular pathogen, right? So this is also a correct application of genome sequencing in the agriculture field, and that's why all these statements are correct with respect to genome sequencing in agriculture, and hence answer is D. Answer of this question is D. So you can go through this discussion. Now we'll discuss questions from 2018. So now let us discuss questions from 2018. First question is, consider the following pairs of terms seen in the news and the context or topics related to those terms, right? So we have certain terms and the context of those terms. First, 𝐵 𝐂𝐸 experiment, and it is related to, it is matched with artificial intelligence. Second, blockchain technology, and its context is digital or cryptocurrencies. Third, CRISPR-Cas9, and its context is particle physics, right? So we are supposed to find out which are the pairs that are correctly matched. So let us consider the third pair, CRISPR-Cas9. By now, this term has become very popular because it is a genetic engineering tool, the most sophisticated gene editing tool developed by human beings. Fine. So it is not at all related to particle physics, and hence third pair is incorrectly matched. So if you remove third option, you will be able to get the answer, right? So blockchain technology pair with digital currency is correct, but the 𝐵 𝐂𝐸 experiments pair with AI is incorrect, right? So answer for this question is 2 only, mentioned in option B, right? So this is the elimination that we have used here. So you should practice, as we have already discussed, you should practice this kind of methodology to answer questions, because this is very important for multiple choice questions, right? Next now. So answer for this is B. Next question. With reference to the genetically modified mustard, GM mustard, which is also known as DMH11, Dhara mustard hybrid 11. Developed in India, consider the following statements. First, genetically modified mustard has the genes of a soil bacterium that give the plant the property of pest resistance to a wide variety of pests. Second, GM mustard has the genes that allow the plant cross-pollination and hybridization. Third, GM mustard has been developed jointly by IARI and Punjab Agricultural University. And we are supposed to find correct statements from these three statements about genetically modified mustard. So first statement is incorrect. Why? Because GM mustard do not contain any gene from soil bacterium. Fine. So the soil bacterium generally used to make or used to produce genetically modified varieties of crops is Bacillus thuringiensis. Fine. So this Bacillus thuringiensis, that means BT, is not used in genetically modified mustard, and hence first statement is incorrect statement. Second, GM mustard has the genes that allow the plant cross-pollination and hybridization. Fine. So there are three genes that are present in GM mustard, and they are bar star, barnase, and so these are the genes that are present in the genetically modified mustard. And one of the properties of, or one of the problems with respect to development of GM mustard was, mustard, we know that it is self-pollinating crop. That means the flower of mustard consists of both male as well as female gametes, and that's why it is very difficult to carry out cross-pollination. But that has been achieved with the introduction of certain genes in GM mustard, and that has allowed scientists to carry out cross-pollination as well as hybridization. Right? So second statement is correct statement. Because of the genes introduced in mustard, cross-pollination and hybridization of mustard was made possible. Third statement, GM mustard has been developed jointly by IARI and Punjab Agricultural University. So this statement is again incorrect, because it is developed by the center in Delhi University, and the head of that particular panel who has developed GM mustard is Deepak Pendal, right? So Punjab University participated in the testing of these, or testing of GM mustard, but they have not developed it as such, and hence third statement is also incorrect statement. That's why answer of this question is B, 2 only. Right? Next question now.